Well, this is going to be interesting because this is a dream that I had. I've shared, brothers and sisters, dreams that I'd had and how they were very significant. And I don't use this lightly. I'm very careful when it comes to dreams. And I was discussing this with Brother Jake that we don't just share dreams and say it is from the Lord, thus says the Lord, because we're never sure. So what we do very often in our group, brothers and sisters, and anyone that is listening, to confirm what we're saying out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, as the scriptures clearly say, we need to have a confirmation that this is not our own imagination at work, that we're not playing any games in, okay, well, this might be significant and this must be God speaking. We always want to check with our brothers and sisters to see, is this God speaking to us? Is he leading us in this direction? Is he trying to communicate something very important to us? So I had discussed this with our brothers and sisters in the Marco Polo group. I discussed this with Brother Jake. I'd shared my dream, and interestingly enough, I received a quick response from Brother Jake, and he had found something very significant. So I'm going to share the dream. In the dream, now this was on Saturday night, Sunday, that was Sunday morning, at 3 a.m., approximately around that time. I can't tell you exactly the precise time, but it was on Sunday, the 3rd, around 3-ish. And I had a dream, a very troubling dream, on the surface. And I saw this map, and I was looking. It seemed like I was flying, but I wasn't really flying. But it was as if I was flying. And I'm sure you've seen sometimes in movies, like the cameras when they're taking a view from the helicopter, and then you can see like this aerial view. Well, this is what I was seeing. And I saw this map, and it was interesting because this map looked kind of like these old maps, but there were colors to it as well. There were borders. I could clearly distinguish the borders. It wasn't just a map, and it was all blurry. There was borders, clear borders that were in that map, and I could see, like I'm watching you right now. I'm watching the screen, the letters that I've got on my screen. I could see the letters Moldavia. So that's M, spelt Moldavia. Now, I saw this country, Moldavia, and while I was looking at it from a bird's eye view, suddenly I was transported inside that country. And what I saw was a group of people, a multitude, actually was a huge multitude of men, women, and children that were fleeing this country. So it was like an exodus.
Мы постоянно молимся. Мы из Одессы. И вчера вечером мы слышали, говорят, что это наше ПВО. Но было действительно реально очень страшно. И поэтому муж мой, он из Кишинева, и мы решили ради ребенка, что мы хотим, чтобы она жила спокойно. И поэтому мы едем в Молдову. И я хочу сказать, что мы молимся за всех, мы молимся за Украину постоянно, мы молимся за Молдову, мы благодарим Господа за то, что вы открыты для нас. Спасибо вам большое. И все, кто остались там в Украине, помните, что вы всегда в наших сердцах, и мы молимся за вас постоянно.
Понимаете, я боюсь войны, я патриот своей родины. И я просто уже не то возрасте, что брать это вот автомат и идти. Вот. Но все мои родственники, они просто пошли, они на очереди стоят в воинских военкоматах. Все идут абсолютно, потому что родину надо спасать. Потому что этот великорусский шовинист, понимаете, как он как Гитлер. Он хочет сделать империю, он хочет всю Европу поработить. У него манечка. У него манечка, его надо остановить, иначе это угроза не только нам, это угроза всей Европе, и Молдове, и всем остальным. Все, будьте здоровы.
Strongly condemned this act of war. The situation is not getting better, unfortunately. It's a tragedy for Ukraine, for the people of Ukraine, but it's very challenging and difficult times for the whole neighborhood and Europe and world. What I can tell you is that the Belarus ambassador to Moldova was summoned to the foreign ministry by a state secretary, which is the level of deputy foreign minister, and he was asked about clarifications on the issue. From what I understand, the ambassador said that there was a mistake on behalf of the Ministry of Defense of Belarus, in a way saying that this was not the case. We are very concerned with this situation. We condemn this. And one cannot be sure 100% of the next phase. Will we be targeted or not? As of today, it seems that we are not a target. But what happens in a week's time, I cannot predict. We are very vigilant, we are very concerned. There is an emergency situation all over the country following the conflict that broke out in Ukraine. So basically the whole institutions and countries are on alert these days. We are in talks with a lot of our partners and receiving a lot of high-level visitors these days in Moldova. But of course, the country is prepared to any kind of scenarios, including the very worst case scenario. So we will be defending what's to be defended, of course. I think the armed forces are well prepared. Our assessment is that there is no imminent threat of escalation on their behalf. But of course, one shouldn't rule out anything given the unfolding circumstances and conflict in the regions. We are not seeking NATO membership because we are neutral, but we are seeking membership to the European Union. And this is the choice of the people. And we want to develop our country as an independent country with our own flag and anthem. We don't want to be under other flags. People from Moldova, of Ukrainian origin, but also from the West, they are traveling to Ukraine to defend their country, their motherland. This is so impressive, and this tells you a lot about the patriotism and about the wish of the people to have their own country, flag, anthem.
Now, the Ukrainian citizens have been asked to help fight the enemy at the gates. Men in the age group of 18 to 16 have been asked to stay back. Families packed up whatever they could carry on their backs to seek shelter across the border, mainly in places like Romania, Poland and Moldova. Our next report gets you the details of the perilous journey that many families have in fact embarked upon in search for safety in Ukraine. Take a look.
These are the residents of Ukraine, leaving their homes as Russian troops move deeper into the country. With little on their backs on a perilous journey, trying to cross over to Poland in search of shelter and security. This miles-long queue is made up of scared individuals, anxious mothers, children who are too young to understand what is happening, hoping to escape missile strikes, bombing, hoping to never have to wake up to air raid sirens, and to never bear witness to the panic and commotion sparked off by Russian military operations. It's a long wait, 6 to 12 hours, but what other options do they have?
Because of martial law, all military obliged, all men must fight for the country, for peace, to prevent attacks from enemy forces, and for everything to be all right. We and children must leave Ukraine.
In just 48 hours, some 50,000 residents fled the country. The UN Refugee Agency has requested neighboring countries to keep their borders open. Around 5 million are at the risk of being displaced. Across the border, Polish residents rush to assist Ukrainians. Moldova, on the other hand, set up special humanitarian centers with medical staff and social workers, all set to assist displaced Ukrainians and provide basic humanitarian, legal and food aid. And then we have Romania, that witnessed an influx from 6 different checkpoints. As per the border police, the inflow is up by 120%. While some plan to huddle till they have more clarity, others plan to continue their journey to other European nations. These border crossings have witnessed several tough goodbyes over the last few days, and that is a gross understatement, with many forced to leave behind their husbands, fathers and brothers.
Where are you going? Where will you go?
Poland,
Your husband, where is he?
Ukraine.
He managed to live?
We can cross now to Brussels and speak to Dave Keating, our correspondent covering the EU angle on this story. Dave, thanks for joining us. Do we know this hour what it is we should expect from Joseph Borrell?
Well, I think the main focus they're going to have is on the refugee situation. Moldova is being totally overwhelmed by refugees coming from the Ukraine war. It is a small country with not a lot of resources. So I think what we can expect is Borrell will announce EU assistance in the form of monetary aid for Moldova to help process those refugees. It is right now it's receiving the third most amount of Ukraine refugees of all countries at the moment. Poland is getting about 52%, then Hungary about 13%, and Slovakia and Moldova equal about 8%. But the other thing they're going to talk about today is the military situation, the security situation. There are a lot of nerves on edge about the breakaway region of Transnistria. It runs along most of the Moldovan border with Ukraine. Many years ago, there was a war between Moldova and this breakaway region, and for many years, it has been self-administered, internationally recognized as part of Moldova, but self-administered, and there have been Russian, quote, peacekeeping troops in that region. There are great fears that that could be the flashpoint between NATO and Russia. Moldova is not a member of NATO, but it is mostly Romanian speaking, and many inhabitants of Moldova have Romanian passports. If Russia tries to annex Transnistria and Moldova responds and Moldova is attacked, the question is, does Romania try to protect those Romanian passport holders? So a lot to discuss, both in terms of the refugee situation and in the security situation at that possible flashpoint at the Ukrainian border.
As you said, lots to discuss today in Moldova, Dave. On the refugee angle, though, we also have Charles Michel today. He's on the Polish border. That, of course, is an EU member state. And it's just another example, isn't it, of the EU leadership in Brussels trying to show solidarity to those countries bordering Ukraine, taking in so many people right now.
Yeah, for sure. As I mentioned, Poland is bearing the brunt of this refugee wave. 52% of the roughly 850,000 Ukrainian refugees who have fled the country so far. So they are trying to help with assistance at that border in terms of processing. Now, already the EU has waived visa requirements. Already Ukrainians could enter the EU without a visa even before the war on a tourist visa of 90 days. But the EU has said you can now enter, no questions asked, for up to 3 years without having to claim asylum. So the refugees are coming into Poland without a problem. It's leaving Ukraine that's proving a bit more of a problem, that's causing a lot of the backup, because Ukraine wants to register everyone who's left, and they need to. They're keeping men of fighting age in the country, and so they need to make sure that the men who are able to fight aren't leaving the country. Now railways across Europe are giving free travel to these Ukrainian refugees to try to spread the burden, to have them keep going west. So someone coming into Poland right now can travel all the way to here to Belgium for free, crossing across the Polish railway, the German railway, and the Belgian railway, which are all giving them free travel. People across Europe are volunteering to take Ukrainian refugees into their homes. I think that people don't want to allow Poland or any of these other border EU states to become completely overwhelmed, and there is an impetus to share the burden, and we'll hear that, I'm sure, from President Michel at his visit today.
Dave Keating, thanks very much indeed.
Second Thessalonians 2. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him, whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Matthew 24. And Jesus went out, and departed from the temple. And his disciples came to him, for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars, and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye, that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. Joel 2. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained, all faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men, they shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Therefore also now, saith the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning, and rend your heart, and not your garments, and turn unto the Lord your God, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil. Who knoweth if he will return and repent, and leave a blessing behind him, even a meat offering and a drink offering unto the Lord your God? Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly. Gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, and those that suck the breasts. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests, the ministers of the Lord, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, Spare thy people, O Lord, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, Where is their God? Then will the Lord be jealous for his land, and pity his people. Yea, the Lord will answer and say unto his people, Behold, I will send you corn, and wine, and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith. And I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen, but I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savour shall come up, because he hath done great things. Fear not, O land, be glad and rejoice, for the Lord will do great things. Be not afraid, ye beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness do spring, for the tree beareth her fruit, the fig tree and the vine do yield their strength. Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord your God, for he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, and the latter rain in the first month. And the floors shall be full of wheat, and the vats shall overflow with wine and oil. And I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm, and the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. And ye shall eat in plenty, and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God, that hath dealt wondrously with you. And my people shall never be ashamed. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my Spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my Spirit. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and the terrible day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord hath said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call.